I'm Jonas from Holborn Chiro. Something that's really sad for me to see as a chiropractor. It's when someone had a period of back issue years ago, but is still scared to do things. They're still scared to go into the gym and lift heavy things and that sort of thing. And it's very common, particularly with low back issues. Your low back is so central in your body. When you lift or do anything, you sort of engage the core and move that part of your back. So when you've had significant issues there, it really affects your ability to do things. Even simple activities like moving between sitting and standing can be really hard when you have an acute lower back. Or lifting and bending, like emptying the dishwasher or picking up a laundry basket off the floor, can be really hard if you don't have that ability to bend forward and you have to sort of awkwardly try to keep your back straight while doing those activities. And it's even worse for people that have had significant injuries to the discs. So often with that, you get the disc ball to put pressure on the nerves. You can get sciatic pain shooting down the leg. Often it pushes you over into a side-leaning antalgic posture. You can't even stand up straight. And disc issues typically take a long time to heal. So no wonder people are scared to do things that could put them back in that space again. So then the question becomes, how do you build back full function so you can go back to doing all the things you like? So you can go back into the gym and do a deadlift again, for example. So to achieve that, I think it's a process of rebuilding tissue tolerance and tissue strength in the back. And a really important initial step in that process can be the chiropractic adjustment. So in the adjustment, as you hear that little click or pop, basically where that comes from is these moist joint surfaces in the back of the spine called the facet joints. As those segments start to free up and move properly again in the adjustment, you hear that click or pop as those moist joint surfaces lets go and that vacuum seal breaks. At the same time, the small muscles that run in between the vertebrae in the spine get stretched, and it stirs them up to start to fire at a higher rate. So when you've had long-term guarding and tension in your back, the big superficial muscles take over and just lock everything down, which means that these small stretch sensors don't get stimulated very much. So they start to atrophy and decrease in size over time and communicating less and less to the brain. So the brain doesn't get that nuanced, clear picture of where that segment is in space, and that's why you're so vulnerable to injury it over and over again. So the adjustment can be really effective in waking up those position sensors to start to fire a higher rate, to start to grow stronger over time, and start to normalize so you can get the accurate, clear picture of where that segment is in space and start to move more safely again. Now, if the back had been inflamed for some time, that inflammation is not just going to be in the disc or in the facet joint next to it, but it will start to spread throughout the whole area. So often when you have a sore back, even touching the skin in that area feel tender. That means that the inflammation has spread out to the skin. So you've gone through all the muscles in that area. So if that happens for a long period of time, you often start to see structural changes in the muscles and degeneration in the muscles. If you did a MRI to look at the health of those muscles, they start to get infiltrated with scar tissue and fat tissue. So the muscles basically become stiff and weak, so they can't support your back properly. And if you did a muscle biopsy, typically we'll see a change from slow twitch fibers, which is ideal in the spine because slow twitch fibers have that postural endurance and can support your back all day. And you change away from that into more fast twitch fibers, so they're more fiery and twingy and grabby but don't have that postural endurance. So when you head out in the garden and try to do some work, you might be fine for the first half an hour until those fast twitch fibers start to fatigue, and then you're at risk at hurting your back again. So I like to do tests to see where you're at in terms of endurance strength. Have you good, strong, resilient core muscles, back muscles, muscles on the side? And if it's not up to scratch, I'll prescribe exercises to rebuild that strength so you can guard and protect your back properly. And once you have endurance strength, the next step is to start to load it in more challenging postures. So gradually we increase the load and we increase the position to be more and more challenging until one day you have built the strength and confidence that you can head into the gym and do a back squat or a deadlift or go out in the garden and dig a trench, because you've been in that position over and over again under controlled circumstances in training and rebuilt that strength that all of a sudden is strong enough that you can handle those activities. So if you have had long-term back issues, please book in for an appointment. We do a thorough assessment and get you back on track to rebuild a strong, dependable back so you can get back to doing all the things you like to do without having to second guess or worry about your back anymore. So welcome in the Whole Body Chiro.